Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to install Better Auth in your Next.js project. So let's get started. To install Better Auth in your Next.js project, all you need to do is, after you have set up and installed your Next.js project, okay, so I've, for example, made this form, okay, and so what I'm going to do is install Better Auth and then combine that with this form so that I can sign up a user. Okay, so let's get started. So now I need to install Better Auth, okay, into my Next.js project. So to do that, it's very simple. Just type in the command npm install, or you could just do I and then Better Auth, a dash. Okay, so better dash auth. Okay, so it's npm I better dash auth. Okay, then press enter. While that is installing, go in and create a new file called .env for your environment variables. Okay, and here what you're going to do is add in Better Auth. Again, you need to space these out, so I'm going to do underscore, okay, then underscore, then do URL. Okay, so you have to specifically type this in, so because Better Auth automatically looks for this and takes this in, so just do Better Auth URL. After that, what you're going to do is put in the base URL. So mine is localhost 3000. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and put this here, and then you create the second environment variable, which is and then just type in a secret. Okay, you have to make sure this is unique, so like you could type in some random stuff mixed in with some numbers, okay, something like this, or you could have some secret key generated for you as well. Okay, but it basically just looks like this but longer. I'm just gonna keep it like this for now. Okay, I'm not gonna save it right now because this is still installing. I don't want to mess something up. So then you need to create a lib folder if you do not have one. I installed chatcn, so it automatically created that for me at that time, so I'm just going to use this one. Okay, so go into the lib folder, and here what I'm going to do is create a new file, and I'm just going to call this auth dot, and if you're using TypeScript, use ts here. Okay, ts. So here what you can do is create a export called auth, and then what you're going to do is say better auth, and here you can pass in certain options. Okay, oh, you need to make this a constant, and you need to get this, you need to import this in. I don't really have this installed yet, so that's why I'm just going to wait for this to finish. Okay, it's finally done. So now what I'm going to do, just going to close this, okay, and get I'm just going to manually import this in. I don't know why it's not getting it. So let's see. Is my lib inside my source folder? I just want to confirm this. Yes, it is inside my source folder. Okay, so this lib has to be inside your source folder, and then you add the auth.ts file here. So what you can do in this is pass in certain options. Okay, the one we're going to be doing is telling it what the base URL is going to be. Actually, it automatically does this because of the way we set up the variables. Okay, the way we set up this, so it automatically does this. We don't need to do this again. That was the whole point. So I'm just going to close this. So the other thing that we need is the database. So I'm just going to do database, and then you can pass in different options here. I'm going to make separate tutorials on how to set up the Postgres and MongoDB database, but for now I'm going to use SQLite. Okay, so in the source folder, let's create a new folder called temp. Okay, so in temp, what I'm going to do is create a file called SQLite.db. okay, like this. Yeah, it's giving add to database client. Yeah, it's giving me options. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna connect this. So I'm just gonna do new database, and you can import this in. Actually, I just remembered you need to install this separately. So what you can do, same, but better dash SQLite 3. Okay, yeah, it's not added that in yet, so I'm just gonna wait for it to recognize it. So in the meantime, you just need to do new database, and then you just specify the location of the file. Okay, that's all you need to do. So mine is, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm pointing correctly, it is temp dot slash temp slash SQLite dot db. Okay, like this. So let's see if it imported that in yet. No, it did not. So what I'm just gonna do is do better slash SQLite 3, and then database. Okay, like this. So save this, and now we're done with this. Okay, after this, what type of authentication do you want? So you can add in different options here. For example, if it's something simple like email and password, something you're gonna take from the user and store in your database, you just do the email and password one, and here you just say enabled true. So I'm not gonna show you this here, how to use this, but I'm just gonna explain how this works. So if you have like an option for Google, right? So you can just provide that in the social providers. Okay, and there are tons of different options, okay, for Apple, Facebook, Dropbox, so on and so forth. So you just choose the option that you want to enable, okay, and here you then get two things. One is the client ID, and the other one is the client secret. Okay, so I don't have these right now, but you basically get these by manually setting up an app in Google or GitHub or Facebook. And then the process is basically the same. You get a client ID and secret, and you just pass those in here, and it automatically integrates with that. Okay, but I'm not going to show you this in this tutorial. That's a whole other thing. Just want to clear that up for you guys. Okay, let's just save this. Okay, next, what you need to do is in Next.js, you go to the source folder, okay, and in the source folder you have the app folder. In the app folder, you're going to create a new folder called API, and if you worked with backend stuff, you know what I'm talking about. You create a API folder, okay. The API folder usually is used to connect to databases and stuff like that, but we're gonna handle like backend authentication and stuff for our Better Auth app using this. I'm gonna create a new folder called auth, and then you have a all catch, I believe this is called. You do it like this, okay. So in this, you basically create a routes.ts. So the routes.ts is what is going to be the file. It's like having a page.tsx file. So it's similar to that, but for the backend. So new file, routes.ts. Okay. And in this, you basically set up the authentication part. Okay. So let's do export constant post and get for this, the ones we are going to use. Okay, so these are the two types of request we will accept, a post request and a get request, and this is going to be equal to so import. I don't know why it's not getting it, but I manually need to add this. So I need to get this from the Better Auth / NextJS. Okay, and the auth from my and this is done. Okay, so next in the lib folder, we're going to create a new file called auth-client.ts. Okay, this is the file that we're going to use to talk to our authentication. Okay, so all you need to do is do export constant auth client is equal to the create . Client, and then here you pass in the the base URL, okay, which is this for us. If you ever deploy your app, you just need to change this, okay? Or actually, I could just do env dot base URL, I believe is the name. Better auth URL, okay. So I'll just give it this one, okay, and then just import this. Just save this. That we have this. What we can do is, for example, I can just go into my sign up form that I created, okay, this one, and connect it to the email and password, okay. So I'm gonna have to write all of the things for the email and password, okay. So I'm just gonna quickly do that and come back, and then I'll write the code for the Better Auth, how to integrate that in, okay. Okay, so you need to add this to make it into a client, okay, because this won't work without that. It'll give you an error because by default it's a use server file. So to make the use state work, you need to add use client, then add two use states, then add a handle submit function, okay, and we're gonna run that on submit, okay, whenever the button is clicked to submit the form, and then you just need to add in these two according to the email and the password, okay. And now I can just add stuff in, okay. So this is how you do that. So next, what I'm gonna do is connect the Better Auth to run with this, okay. So first we need to get the create client, or the auth client, I think we called it. Yeah, we called it auth client. So I'm gonna say, yeah, auth client. Okay, and then we do, actually this is going to be a wait, okay. So this has to be a asynchronous function. So constant, and we get two things back from this. That is data and error, and this is going to be an await. So from the auth client, you have a lot of different options, okay. So you can change passwords, emails, all of this stuff, but what we're going to do is use the dot sign in, okay. Oh no, sorry, dot sign up, and then dot email option, okay. So in this, what we're going to do is pass in, you can pass in 4 things into this, okay, which is the email, password, name, and image, okay. So I'm going to do email, and because they're named the same, I could just keep this as email. Then password, and name. Okay, this is going to be the username. And I just realized I have to create this as well, so I'm just going to quickly create that and come back. Okay, I've done that. I'm going to save that. Okay, so you pass in these three options. Okay, it's loading. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you what are the different things that we can do. Okay, so there are three things that you can do when you submit this, right? So one is on request. Okay, on request. Okay, so ctx for context, and I'm just gonna copy this, paste this in 2 more times. So one is on request, another one is on success, and the third one is error. Okay, so the difference between all three of these is that on request is when the request is submitted, okay, and you have to wait for the response. Okay, so let's say you had a loading option. So for that option, you would want to stop anyone from clicking the submit button here. Okay, something like that. So that's an option. Okay, you could set this you could turn this button into a loading button or something like that, but we're not going to do that. Okay, I'm just going to do console log, and I am just for now going to say on request and just paste this in. And save this. Okay, you basically get the data and the error here as well. This is just another option just in case you want to explore this and handle things inside of this. Okay, so now we have everything ready, right? So when we're going to submit this, it's going to take in the email, password, and name, and it's going to do something with them. Okay, if we do not run into any errors. Okay, so this is what you need to add. Okay, this part right here, and you need to target the source folder and then whatever folder you have inside of it, and then the name of the file. Okay, which is in my temp folder the SQLite file. Okay, to create a SQLite database. So first you need to generate a migration file for your SQLite, and it's the same process for MySQL and Postgres. Okay, so to do this, just type in the command npx add better-auth/cli@latest. Then you need to type in generate. Okay, and then press enter and make sure this is correct. Okay, I'll explain this later. Okay, it's asking you if you want to generate the schema for this. Press Y, and as you can see, there is a Better Auth migrations folder. That is what you need. It will create a schema file for you. Okay, so for example, if I go into this file, it's empty, right? So now what I'm going to do is type in migrate, and what this will do is migrate whatever is in the migrations folder. Okay, so migrate and press Y. Okay, so you don't need to worry about this. This is something that will be picked up by your SQLite. Okay, it will understand what is happening in this. Don't worry about what is written here. Okay, this just filled in all of the schema and other things for the file. Okay, I'm going to close this, and now comes the real test. So actually, let me just see if I can open this. And by the way, I have this extension installed. That's why I can see this. Okay, so now you can see these are the things in the schema that have been created. Okay, the account, session, user, and verification. Okay, so these are the things that are created. So I'm going to type in the username. Let's say my username is demo. Okay, it's going to be demo@example.com, and the password is just going to be something. And I'll click sign up. So let's open up the console log. Okay, so we got an error, and we don't know what the error is. So let's duplicate this, let's copy this, and let's do this. Save this. I'm gonna refresh this actually. Okay, so I looked at the problem. The problem was that in this, I ended up calling this routes. I added a S to the end. It's only route. That was a small mistake I made. So just make this route, not routes. Okay, so after that, just fill in all of this information. I'm gonna sign up, and I'm gonna take you to my database. You have these two. While I was testing, I made these two. Okay, so let's wait for this to finish. Okay, it's done the on success. Okay, you know what, let's do this. Save this. Okay, so it is saying that the user has been created. Okay, so I'm in my login form. Okay, so again, the exact same thing. The states, the handle submit function, it is the exact same function. The only thing I changed is instead of sign up, it's sign in, and you just need to add in only the email and password, not the username. Okay, and then just add it here, don't submit, and just add these accordingly into the email and password. Okay, and then I just submitted this with the password. Okay, and as you can see, it's saying success, and then I'm logged in. Okay, it's fetching the data because it's a success. Let's say I messed up the password. Let's try and log in again. It says error this time, and it's saying invalid email or password. Okay, so there you have it. It is working. So I hope you like this tutorial. Like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.